Hello and welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to another post-match reaction, one of the last this season with only 4 or 5 games left. I do apologise, I've got a bit of a cold that time of the year, hay fever, etc. My name's Sam Ucko, joined today by Charlie Zazzera. Charlie, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I feel like end of the season slowly deteriorating. You can tell by, I know we've all been busy with work and mental health World Cup and stuff, and the season's kind of petering out, as they say, but we'll do our best to do a good stream tonight.
Yeah, just trying to keep the season alive at the moment, going into the last 4 games. Jacob Coulter unfortunately couldn't be here tonight because I think he was playing in some sort of football tournament today. But of course, you can play in your own football tournament as well. Come and watch a football tournament at Vicarage Road next month when we host the Mental Health World Cup at Vicarage Road, raising money for 5 unbelievable charities. And now you can get your tickets on the Watford FC ticket website. The various prices available, various deals you can get depending on how old you are and whether you're a season ticket holder, etc. So make sure to check that out. But Charlie, we also have the auction now live as well, don't we?
We do have the auction finally live, and I'll quickly share it so if people hasn't seen what it looks like, and here it is. And before we go through it, bit of breaking news for any of the captains or the teams listening. We announced it on Friday that Marvin Sordell bid for him to play on your team. And now we've also got the Watford legend, Tommy Smith, who has said he will come down as a special guest player. So any captains, any teams listening who want to play with Tommy Smith, you can make a bid there. And again, all the funds will go to the charities. And yeah, as we go through the screen, you can see all the prizes. Tom Cleverley signed GT commemorative jacket, squad signed shirt if you're into your rugby, hospitality, Bar and Vata signed shirt, F1 hospitality, Elton John, AJ, Oasis tickets, some random Chelsea shirts on there. But yeah, all of it, some really, really good prizes, all going to an amazing cause. So yeah, get involved, have a look, have a bid. Anything on there, Sam, that takes your fancy?
See, I was just thinking generally that I feel like we've leveled up on the prizes from last year. But then again, would I rather a 3-night stay on one of the best golf courses in Portugal or Craig Cathcart's FA Cup final shirt? It's a difficult one there. But in terms of what I was a bit disappointed to miss out on Oasis tickets. So I might have to put in a bid for those Oasis tickets, although I'm not sure I will have enough necessarily to go and win that. So definitely all of the links will be in our description. So make sure to check that out. Moving on then to just some Watford news generally at the moment before we get into the game yesterday. Of course, one of the players that you can bid on for a signed shirt is Quadro Bar's signed shirt. However, unfortunately, the news did come out earlier this week before the game, during the week, before the Hull game, that both him and Georgie Shapvatatse will not be playing again this season. We'll start off with Georgie, Charlie. Do you think that's the last we've seen from him in a Watford shirt?
Possibly. Yeah, I think there's a really good chance that's going to be the case, which is a real shame because he's been an absolute joy to watch this season. Probably one of the best signings Watford have ever made, 2 million, depending on how much we get for him. But I think at times he's been absolutely scintillating to watch. He's one of those we call the eye test players. The stats might not be amazing, but if you go to a game and watch him play, he's great fun, and I just love watching him play. And you can tell by when opposing fans, the way they speak about him. So yeah, I'll be gutted if that is the last time we see him in a Watford shirt. It'd be nice, that Sheffield Wednesday game, it'd be nice to see him in yellow for one last time. I feel like that's becoming a bit of a recurring theme now. Every last day of the season, we sort of say bye to one of our players, but that's just where we are at club right now. And it'll probably be an important sale to keep us going for next year. So yeah, wish him all the luck. Hope he gets a really good move. But yeah, he's been a really good one this season.
Yeah, definitely one to watch this season. And definitely he's got a huge shout for player of the season as well. Probably alongside Imran Loser, whose I think performances have stepped up massively as the season has gone on. But that's a debate for another day. Quadro Bar as well, unfortunately, will be out for the rest of the season. I'm sure he's as gutted as all of us that he won't be able to play at Fratton Park, which would have been a heated game. But wonder if we could potentially see him in the away end as well. I think Bar we're going to have a long conversation about, and I think not sure if we'll ever be able to do this on a channel, but I'd love to hear from a physio or someone who knows a lot more about almost the body and the body of an elite sports person, the impact this could have on his career. Because I mentioned on a previous video, maybe last week, and Charlie, I think you've said this as well, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I've got some concerns about his long-term career, just with the way he plays and his build, etc.
Yeah, I've said the same. It is a worry. The type of player he is. We saw that Bristol City game. I think he had 3 explosive runs in the first 15 minutes. So if you're doing that throughout the game, the load you're putting on your muscles, and we know he's got an injury record. The reason he's kind of burst onto scene, if you like, at this age is because he's had injury records, really. So look, I think let's just try to stay positive. He's going to have a long break now to recover, a full pre-season, and hopefully we get Quadra. But we've got to remember, before Georgie joined, he had a really bad injury record,
Yeah.
did a couple of ACLs, and especially the way he plays and people bringing him down and trying to foul him, he's done really, really well to stay fit for the majority of the season. So let's just hope we can have a fully fit Quadra Bar next season, because if we do, then we are going to be a lot better, be in a lot better position.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. A few more things to tick off before we discuss yesterday's defeat at the Hawthorns. Watford under-18s semi-final against Manchester City. Unfortunately, just came up short with a 1-0 defeat, despite a brilliant effort, particularly from the goalkeeper, who I thought was outstanding. The academy seems to be taking some real steps in the right direction at the moment. The issue I suppose that we have as well is that almost big clubs are trying to poach the better players at the minute. We saw Harry Amass make his first Premier League start today for Manchester United as well, and I did almost sit there and think what could have been, but this looks like a real promising young group. I'd really suggest going to listen to From the Rookeryans podcast a few weeks ago, where they sat down with Rich Johnson, Jimmy Gilligan, Charlie Daniels, Dan Gosling, Matty Bevs, everyone involved in the academy pretty much they spoke to. Charlie, I'd say it's a big positive this season, isn't it? The success of the academy.
Yeah, and I think we spoke about it. I'm sure it's coming to the end of the season. One video we did last year when we look back at our predictions. I think that'll be coming soon. But I think one of us said about the inclusion of the academy, and maybe we haven't seen as many as we thought. But I think even yesterday on the bench we had Ramirez Hispan and Ekomar as well, who we got back from Chelsea. So I think someone else travelled as well. But yeah, watching that game on Thursday night against the best academy in the country, you'd have to say at the moment, I don't think I've ever seen a team in yellow have such good heart and fight throughout the game. Like the application of all those lads, tackles flying in, like to the whistle, even at the end of the game, the anger they had when they were kind of on another attack to kind of keep that Man City team at bay was really, really impressive. And it's only going to kind of get better experience for those boys. So hopefully we can see more of those drip through, and we can see kind of more make a splash. And obviously we've got Ryan Andrews, who we probably all take for granted. He's kind of been in the first team now for a couple of seasons. So yeah, the academy's been in a lot better place. And yeah, maybe we are going to have to lean on some of those boys a bit closer. Is there any particular players that stood out for you, or you're excited about, or you think you could make the first team next year?
Yeah, I mean, just to echo your sentiments as well, I think what was really impressive was the fact that they went 1-0 down after 2 minutes. And even then, that didn't really change anything. And it's not just a case of holding on. And at that point, I think it would be very easy to sort of go through the motions and think damage limitations straight away. But they fully went for it. And yeah, it was a great effort. But yeah, for me, firstly, the goalkeeper, I think he looks like he's got a real promising future ahead of him, had the absolute game of his life. And I'm not sure if you saw his post-match interview as well, but he comes across as a really confident young player as well, and particularly for a goalkeeper coming through, that's exactly what you need, that confidence. So yeah, I really like him. But I think the obvious one as well is Leo Ramirez, Spain as well, who, I mean, I'm not sure if he's actually appeared too often for the first team in the actual league this season. Obviously he's been a mainstay on the bench, particularly in the second half of the season. But yeah, I think particularly if Imran Loser goes in the summer, I'm not saying he is the replacement, but almost in that mould, could be one to look at as well. Anyone else for you, Charlie, outside of those two?
Nambizada looks really exciting. It was a shame he couldn't play for Sam smiling. I don't know why. It's a shame. It's a shame he couldn't play for England under-18s when he got called up recently.
Yeah.
He looks really, really exciting young player. And do you know why, or anyone in the comments, we didn't see Edwards play? Obviously, Edwards came on. Gone.
Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure, but what I heard yesterday was, and I'm gutted for him for this, but I think he picked up an injury when he came on the other night against Hull on Wednesday night or Tuesday night. Sorry, he made a half an hour appearance. And I think actually got injured, so couldn't feature on Thursday, which is a big shame. I was actually, of course, it's crucial that academy players that bled into the first team and made their appearances. And I wasn't disappointed to see him playing, but I was surprised with the context of the first team season, which was pretty much a dead game, and the academy, which had so much to play for the other night. I was a bit surprised to see him come on, but yeah, I suppose that's the game, isn't it? And a bit of transfer news as well. Jonathan Bond has left. From going to doing the Mental Health World Cup draw about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, to heading back to the MLS, to Houston Dynamo. I'm slightly disappointed about this, but I'm not surprised, and I completely understand his decision. I think he did really well whenever he came in this season and actually pleasantly surprised a lot of people. I think back to Derby away, particularly that 2-0 win where he was actually on man of the match, I'd argue. Made some really, really big saves, but yeah, Charlie, understandable or sort of wish he'd stayed?
I could understand from all parties, to be honest, especially with Batman coming back fit, and we've seen how good Selvic's been. And I thought Selvic was great again yesterday. Bond's got that kind of already relationship with MLS, and like you said, I think whenever he played for us this season, he was solid, really good, reassuring. So I hope he goes over there, gets the minutes he deserves, and kicks on. But he's been another Watford Academy graduate that you'd have to say has had a successful career, and the fact that he's had the chance to come back, and just overall like a really nice guy. Like I don't think I have met him at all, and I was busy doing the mental health draw, speak to someone, and he made the effort to come up to me and say hello and stuff like that. So yeah, top man, and yeah, just wish him all the best over there in the States.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have him back on the channel soon as well to unearth some secrets from his second spell at Watford as well. So keep your eyes out for that one. And from outgoings to potential incomings as well. I was at Wembley today for the Virtue Trophy final between Birmingham and Peterborough, and I must say, Hector Cipriano was absolutely quality today. He scored an absolutely lovely goal as well. Controlled the game. Obviously, Peterborough are massive underdogs. But yeah, one to watch in the summer potentially, because I think he'd be.
Sam, what type of player is he for anyone who hasn't watched him? Because I must confess, I haven't watched him. What kind of midfielder is he?
Yeah, so I hadn't watched too much of him before today, and I was expecting, from what I was reading, a bit more of an aggressive, tough tackling sort of midfielder. But it was actually more wanting to get on the ball and dictate play and calm things down, particularly. One thing that I did see a lot as well as organisational skills look really, really good as captain of Peterborough as well. And I think at times this season, I think it's something we're going to have to talk about the West Brom game as well. I think that leadership is something that we've sometimes missed this season. So, yeah, only a small sample size. And obviously, Birmingham absolutely dominated the game today. So he didn't have as much of the ball as he would have wanted. But yeah, a great strike as well for his goal. So definitely get onto YouTube as well and watch the highlights from that one. But anyway, it's been about 15 minutes talking about everything but yesterday's game, avoiding it. But yeah, let's try and get into it. A difficult one, a familiar story, losing 2-1, going 2-0 down, scoring in the last 10 minutes, about the 5th or 6th time that's happened this season. Charlie, before we break everything down, immediate reflections, feelings, thoughts from the game?
Yeah, I was like really, really encouraged about it. And it was one of those when I was watching, I actually had it on mute because the legal stream that I was watching on had the most biased baggies commentators. And after 5 minutes, I was like, I can't handle this. Literally, as soon as their player had the ball, it was like, go on. And I was like, no, I can't be doing this. I was really, really impressed with the performance. Obviously, we gave away some cheap goals, but the way we responded, the way that we fought to the final whistle, including that save from that Matty Pollock header, the way we controlled the game against the West Brom team who been in the playoffs for the whole season away, and the fact that we haven't got any playoffs to contend with, I was really, really impressed. And I didn't know if anyone was going to agree with me. Obviously, it is another defeat, but I think the application, I think what Tom's trying to do now is really, really clear to see. I think plug in an upgrade of players in Selvik and Wiley, who I thought had another really good game. Loser was class again. Really, really encouraging. It's just a shame about the goals and the shame that just our final third play is seriously, seriously lacking. And you've seen the title of the video, why Watford the most confusing team, and I'm sure we'll go into it. But yeah, I was really pleased with the performance, to be honest. But before we do go into it, and I can get up the starting 11, what about the away end? Because did you go to the Vine, the famous best away pub in the country?
Oh, unbelievable curry before the game in the Vine. Decent price drinks as well. I mean, no, actually, it wasn't decent price drinks. The alcohol was reasonably priced, but as someone who's not drinking at the moment, I ordered a Diet Coke, a pint of it, and it cost £5.50 or something, and I was absolutely livid with that. But yeah, great, good atmosphere, and I thought the away end was it was really, really good atmosphere in the away end yesterday. It's clear how behind the team I think the fans are this season at the moment, and often I think back to last season. I know it was under Cleves as well, but the season sort of dwindled out. Even the year before that, we were under Chris Wilder at that point, and it was getting quite toxic. But it feels quite alive in the away end. I don't feel like you look at it and think that there was nothing to play for, if that makes sense. And I think that's credit to Watford fans, who the travelling fans this season have been absolutely excellent. And it was another brilliant away end yesterday.
I've seen West Brom fans saying we're one of the best away. And what like I know you said everyone's behind Cleves, but considering it is quite a dead rubber and our form hasn't been good, why do you think it was so good? Is it because it's a 3:00, the sun was out, or
Yeah.
do you just think like there's a bit more of a connection now and fans are happier? Because we've talked about the turmoil and the uncertainty this season. Why do you think the fans are so good just there?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think generally, broadly speaking, I think that because expectation has gone down generally within the fan base, I think people can be more content with, not necessarily finishing in the playoffs or not finishing higher up in the table. Whereas 2 years ago, when you'd think that we should be up there challenging for the league title and we're mid-table with 5-6 games to go, it's going to be a lot more toxic. And yes, last season, I just think everyone got a bit bored, to be honest with you, with the football that we were watching. And this season, I feel like expectations have been managed a bit differently. I think it's a lot more likeable, the team. I think we've seen the effort levels have been constant throughout. Even yesterday when we were 2-0 down, I actually think at times some of the goals that we concede are because players are trying too hard and they're running out and making brash decisions without necessarily thinking about it too quickly. And look, obviously I don't want that. And the word that Tom Cleverley is using a lot at the moment is streetwise or managing the game better. But I'd rather concede goals like that than what I've seen previously of players refusing to track back or not doing anything at all. So I think for that, the connection is there a lot more. And for that, it has been better. But as Charlie said before as well, we're going to look at why Watford are the most confusing team in the Championship. And I think yesterday's game really did epitomise that. Let's start off by looking at the starting 11, Charlie, if we've got a graphic that we can share. The immediate thing for me that stood out with this starting 11 was the lack of pace. Obviously, no Rocco Vata didn't start the game, no Quadro Bar, no Georgie Chapfatadze. I think we really lacked pace. But going from back to front, we had Selvik in goal, Wiley, Abankwah, Matty Pollock, Jeremy Ngakia, holding midfield of Imran Luz and Tom Dele, with a three of Ince, Kayembe, and Musa Sissoko behind Mamadou Doumbia. Charlie, what were your thoughts on that team? Were there concerns? Were you happy with it?
Those attacking midfielders of Sissoko, Kayembe, and Ince made me wince, if you like. Could see Doumbia start. Maybe I don't think he had his best game, but yeah, I quite liked it. I think Ngakia was superb yesterday. Again, I think his 1v1 defending is outstanding, and he's offering something going forward. The way he progresses the ball off the pitch. Maybe he doesn't have the best end delivery, but I think Ngakia is now really cemented that place, which is a surprise because there was a lot of fume when the club gave him a new contract. Like I said, Wiley, who I thought was really good, and good to see a Abankwah in there. But yeah, Yeah, I think I put it in the group chat, and I just didn't really get the Tom Ince. I know Tom Ince was outstanding in the derby against Luton, but apart from that, I just don't know. I just don't know what he offers that much, and I don't know if they thought West Brom are a better team and we're going to need to be better than out of possession. And I do kind of disagree with you in a couple of recent videos where you've kind of said you thought that has been quite good. I think that has been a bit meh compared to what we're used to, and I just think he's kind of giving away possession. And that decision, I thought bringing Vatter on could be quite shrewd if we're still in the game, and him chomping at the bit could be a good move from Tom. But in hindsight, maybe it wasn't. Ince didn't offer anything for me. Um, but what's Tom got to play with on the bench? Vatter, Duomo's coming back from fitness. He came on yesterday. Looked pretty
Yeah,
good. Looked okay. Bio
yeah,
came on, and then look at our other options: James Morris, Ryan Andrews, Akawar, and Ramirez Espan. So not
yeah.
too
No,
much
I
done with
just jump in, Charlie. Again, this is where I feel sorry for Clevs though, because even then, like Bio came on. I think literally straight after we scored the goal to make it 2-1. There were boosts from the away end again, like from some sections of the away end. The chant, obviously, when Bio scores were on the pitch. We've spoken again before on the channel about how we're not the biggest fan of that chant. But I do sort of think, what is Cleverly meant to do? Like that, there is nothing for him to work with, and again, it just comes down to poor squad building from those above him, doesn't it?
yeah. I'm sure we'll get all into that when we do our keep, loan, and sell, and who we're going to buy for next season. But yeah, it's just testament to what Klebs has done. And again, like I was looking at our results, and we haven't been battered that many times this season, have we? It always feels like a 2-1, 1-0, one goal margin. So I think,
Mhm.
yeah, for me, and the way we were in the game and how impressive we were, I thought in terms of controlling it. Look, we'll jump to the momentum bar because I think it's a really good indicator. I don't like it when it's spread out like that. You can see here, but Watford in the blue. After we conceded, we pretty much did all the work in the first half, and then at the start of the second half, it was a bit to and fro. But as soon as they scored, look at us really, really making a big push to the end, even till that save. So I think I think we're a really, really well coached team. And I think now we can finally see what Clevs is trying to do. You can see those win backs being so advanced, which could be to the detriment. I think two of the goals was probably because we were so kind of advanced with those wing backs. We need those dynamic defenders to cover that ground. Loser finding those quarterback, third centre back positions, controlling it, dictating it. His long range passing yesterday was great again. We'll get to Tom Delly, I'm sure, but I think it's just when we get to that final third, we just lack serious quality, and that's why we're not winning games.
Yeah, it's that final third in the pitch, which I think is probably the biggest worry at the moment. But yeah, for both goals yesterday, I thought it was really poor defending. And let's look at the first goal, Charlie. I think it was Carlin Grant who scored for them. Tom Delly was caught out in possession. West Brom were able to get in behind, and it was pulled back, and Grant was able to finish it off. Yeah, disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Tom was caught in possession, but it was his ball to be won, and the defender. It was Fellows, who's a really, really good, exciting player. Got 2 assists on the day. Kind of just went through Tom Delly, and then the Banquo had to get pulled out, and then it was just pulled back for Carter Grant to finish easy. And again, one I think big negative with our midfield is that we don't really have a defensive minded player who's going to sweep things up, and it just landed on the edge of the box for Grant to have all the space in the world to put it in. So it was Tom Delly could have done better with the duel. Wiley was kind of nowhere to be seen because we were kind of attacking, and that's why Banquo got pulled out. And that's kind of we've seen the danger when we are playing four at the back. But again, like you said, Sam, I think you'd rather concede goals where we're trying to be a bit more attacking. But yeah, that's one. That's why I asked about Kipriano, because do we have a defensive minded player? And as good as Loser is controlling the game, and I actually think Loser was probably at fault for the second goal. Defensively, he might not kind of have that awareness, be in the right position to mop things up, and neither does Tom Delly, as we saw.
Yeah, for frustrating one as well. But do you know what? After that, I thought Watford were brilliant in that first half. Really, really good. And again, the issue was just in the final third. We didn't create any true clear-cut opportunities. I think the closest we came from memory was Edo Kiembe hitting the post with a half volley, very similar actually to his goal at the same end against West Brom last season at a similar time in the year. But yeah, this time unfortunately a bit unlucky with that one.
Loser had a good chance with his right foot, and Gaki did really well past it, but you could just tell it was his right foot, and he didn't get a good chance.
No, exactly. But we're working the ball in some really nice areas, but we just lacked that real bit of cutting edge in the final third, which was frustrating, because I did actually think at the end of the half we went in at value for at least to be level in the game. But that's football, isn't it? You get punished, and if you don't take your chances, and if you're slack defensively. Before we go on to the second half, though, I did want to say I was actually slightly disappointed with West Brom. They've had quite a poor set of results and performances recently. I think before yesterday they were winless in 5. They'd lost their last 3, and things just aren't necessarily gelling. I think the way they would have wanted with Tony Mowbray coming back in. Interesting. I think I doubt they'll win the playoffs if they are in there, but even if they don't make it, if they make a change in the summer to see if Mowbray is maybe a short-term fix, because going from Corberan's levels, who I believe is actually flying out in Spain at the moment as well.
Your ball knowledge, Corberan is taking La Liga by storm, taking them from relegation to mid-table. They beat Real Madrid the other week as well.
Ridiculous, yeah. So you can sort of understand why there's been a bit of a drop-off there at West Brom. But I was slightly disappointed, but nonetheless, you mentioned there Imran Louza being caught there for the second goal as well. Charlie, do you want to break it down, Mikey Johnston's goal?
Yeah, I can't really remember it too well, but there was just a moment where it gets kind of, the ball comes across and Louza just commits to it when he was never going to get it, and after he didn't get it, we didn't have any midfielders, and they were just at our attack. And Fellows just down the right wing, really, really good ball back across, and Mikey Johnson. And again, when we're looking at what we're up against and what Klebs is up against, you're looking at West Brom. Their subs yesterday, they brought in Adam Armstrong, who's been playing in the Premier League for Southampton, Daryl DK, he's had really bad injuries, but really, really good young up-and-coming striker, did really well for Val Ismail at Barnsley. And Grady Dean Garner, who at this level has done really well for West Brom. And
shout out to Val Ismail, by the way, for his first Blackburn win yesterday.
I always knew Val Ball was the one, mate.
Val Ball was the one. Sorry, Charlie, had to jump in there.
No, but yeah, just looking at their team, and you're looking at Will Lancashire, an exciting player from Spurs who started. I actually didn't think he did that well. Carlin Grant, Mikey Johnson, and Tom Fellows on the wings, good players. Price is a really good player. They brought in Alex Mowat at this level, unreal. So, do you know what I mean? We're coming up against a really solid Championship team who probably should be in the playoffs, and we gave them a really good game. And I think we should kind of stress how much we did control the game, and we did worry them, and we were I don't know about the better side, but we were well in the game. It just showed that we just got caught a couple of times. Look, I do think we could have lost by a bit more. Agaki made an unbelievable block against Mikey Johnson at the start of the second half, but yeah, they just had the quality in the final third. We're going to go on about it that many times, but at the end of the day, football always comes down to who's got the better team.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're spot on with that. But we did show some quality in the final third after that goal. A lovely outside of the boot pass from Imran Louza found its way to Moussa Sissoko, who, with his second goal this week, powered it in past the goalkeeper on his weak foot as well, I think it was. A lovely goal that was, wasn't it? I mean, he's coming up with it with a few at the moment, isn't he?
So where are we standing now on the Sissoko? What's the narrative about Sissoko? Because for me, ever since Tom's moved him to that right wing position, I think he's been really good. Like the amount of match-winning goals he scored for us. It's just that middle part of the season when he was playing in the middle. But even at the start of the season, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, not for me, to be honest with you, Sissoko. I also think if you watch back the first goal as well, it was him who lost his man. whoever scored the goal for them or played a big part. Sissoko lost his man in the build-up, which was really frustrating. I think he did look at it and just go, I'm not tracking him back. It was really, really weird if you watch it back. But yeah, not for me, Sissoko, to be honest with you. But his goal did give us a platform.
When you say not for me, are you saying you just don't think he's any good, or he shouldn't be in the starting 11, or he hasn't improved?
I think he's definitely improved further up the pitch. But if we're looking at reinforcing the team next season, I think the thing that this Watford team lacks at the moment is pace massively when Barr isn't playing. There's hardly any pace on that pitch. And Sissoko and Ince on the wings is a large reason for that, I think. Because, yeah, it just doesn't look like at any point they're going to get him behind. I think in terms of his intelligence and his positioning, I think you can see, you look at him and you can see why he played in the Premier League for so long and why he reached the Champions League final with Tottenham and why he played for France. Just his football IQ, I think, is a level above anyone in the team. But just as things that we need for Clev's ball, I don't think he's going to be the right person. Well, obviously not long term because he's 35, 36 years old. But going into next season, I think it's an area that we definitely need to address. Just to up our levels generally. We came so close to equalising at the end as well. Matty Pollock had someone save it, hit the post. Couldn't really see, to be honest with you, from the away end.
I watched it back. I think the keeper saved it. But again, the fact that we were knocking on the door right to the very end, you saw how gutted Loser was. Loser had the ball on the edge of the box and he hit one over. And I think player of his quality, and he knew himself, that's a good chance. But yeah, a couple of kind of balls pinging around towards the end. We just couldn't get the final touch on. But we had West Brom really, really rattled and really scared. And I think if we had any kind of quality in the final third, we were definitely bagged. And that's what was one of the most pleasing things for me.
Yeah, 100%. And the Hawthorns was nervous yesterday. When I've been there the previous, I think it was my third time there. The first couple of times, it was absolutely bouncing both times. And it was a great atmosphere. But yesterday was nervous. It was on edge and pretty quiet, I think, from their standards. I think that just shows how far that we've come. But that brings on to the title of the video, why Watford are the most confusing team. I was talking in the group chat earlier, Charlie, to you and Jacob, and I was saying that it's really weird because obviously since January, we've picked up a lot less points. We're not winning as many games as we were in the first half of the season. Our home form's nowhere near as good as it once was. But I actually think the performances have been so much better in the second half of the season than in the first half of the season. I think in the first half of the season, you can turn around and say we got lucky in quite a few games. We relied on Quadrabar to come on and win us points, win penalties, score goals for us. But in the second half of the season, I think collectively over 90 minutes, I think we're playing a lot better. The frustrating for me is that occasionally it takes us going 1-0 down to actually start playing. But I think we've improved so much. And something you said earlier that we've hardly been battered this season. Other than Luton away, Leeds at home, I can't think of many games where we haven't been in the game. Because even something like Preston away, where we lost 3 or 4-0 at the start of the season, we battered them in that first half and probably should have been 2 or 3-0 up. So those are the only 2 games I can think of where we've really been battered. But Charlie, before we get into why, what makes this Watford team confusing for you, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got the easiest way, but I haven't had much time. But who's this fellow down here? I'm trying to kind of show how much control and how much better I think. I agree with you, Sam. If you just watch us now, we just look like a much more structured team, more cohesive, and like more of a structured team. And this is goals XG against. So what chances we're conceding. And you can see just recently, Bristol City that we lost away, Oxford that we lost, that 0-0 draw against Stoke, Plymouth. Like, we're not conceding big chances at all. And then if you kind of look at the possession, the Plymouth game at home, we should have won. That Preston loss, I know that was a bit further on, the Derby game, but I feel like we're controlling games. We're being the more dominant team in the less end of the season, and like you said, we've got a lot less points. And I just simply put that down to one person, and that's Quadrabar. At the start of the season, he was the difference maker who was coming on and winning penalties and scoring goals and winning us 3 points. And we're in a position now where we're doing similar things, and we're having more control and more possession, but we've got no players who are clinical in the final third or difference makers, and that's why we're not winning as much games. All the games are on a knife edge. We talked about Plymouth games, Stoke game, those 0-0s we really should have won. But I just feel like we're a lot more of a team now. We're more cohesive. We have a lot more control. But the problem at the start of the season, when we had Quadro Bar, especially coming off the bench, who would just make a difference. That's my kind of summary of, and how I feel like the season's progressed. And it always evens itself out. But I think at the start of the season, we were hanging on in games. We were a bit more stodgy. We didn't look as good, and we were just kind of nicking penalties and winners here and there. And this time we're kind of controlling games, but we're not scoring the decisive goals. That's my kind of take on it. And that's why I think we're confusing, because if anyone looked on paper, you'd go, Watford were good at the start of the season and they're bad at this season, but it's anything but the truth. Do you think that's fair? Any other points?
Yeah, 100%. It's just so weird the way that football works, isn't it? Like, if we had our performances from the first half of the season, they actually match up to the results in the second half of the season, and our performance in the second half of the season match up to our results in the first half. So it's crossed over in that way, which is it's just been really, really odd. And I'm actually feeling really positive at the moment, because I feel like the building blocks are in place for next season if we can keep hold of one or two, if we can make additions to the squad, which I'm a bit worried about. A question for you, Charlie, and I know it's difficult because football's never black or white and it's never yes or no. If Quadro Bar stays fit, do we get playoffs, do you think?
Well, next season?
No, this season, I'm saying. Season. Like, throughout this season.
I think we'd have a much better chance. Like, again, I have been blown away by Quadro this season and how he's bulldozed his way through defenders and how he's been unstoppable at times. And he hasn't even started that many games. Like, he's done most of his damage coming off the bench, and even that 15 minutes against Bristol City, he's unplayable. So every team needs that kind of that player who unlocks something. All the best teams have more players, of course. You look at Leeds and they have kind of like Manuel Solomon and players like that. But how many points are we off the playoffs? 6 now, something like that?
Yeah, 6, 7 points maybe.
Would Quadro Bar have contributed to more points? I think so. I'm gutted that he's not fit for the Portsmouth game. That Portsmouth game would have been entertainment if he was in the picture. And I love his attitude, even his post about the banter. He just looks like such a good lad, and I'm excited to see him play next season. Yeah. And I just pray that he can keep fit.
Yeah, hopefully he stays fit. And I mean, I definitely think if he stays fit, we'd end up in the playoffs. And without doubt that we'd have beaten Bristol City last week. He was absolutely destroying them before he came off. I think in the tight 0-0s against Stoke and against Plymouth, he's probably the difference maker in those games. But yeah, even in other games sort of earlier that we, again, just narrowly missed out on. I mean, I think back to Sunderland away when we drew 2-2, and they were incredibly shaky that day, and he could have done damage there. So yeah, frustrating one, but hopefully he can stay fit going into next season. Charlie, you wanted to speak about Imran Loser again from yesterday, who had another really, really good game.
Yeah, I feel like since that kind of Sunderland game and the way he's been dictating the games and his positions he's been taking up has been really, really impressive. I do think in the last 4 or 5 games that's kind of maybe dropped off a bit. But yeah, when I looked at yesterday, it had 117 touches, which is the most he's had this season. And he was just absolutely bossing it, and he was getting the ball, looking up, looking for runners. And yeah, Lou Orns put this graphic out, which I thought was quite eye-opening. So this is Imran Loser against Tanaka. And for anyone who doesn't know, Tanaka's the kind of holding midfielder or centre midfielder that Leeds been playing, who they've brought in. Really, really tidy player. Great on the ball, scored quite a few goals. And this is a kind of a radar of how he compares to Imran Loser. So Imran Loser's got better ball recoveries, more total shots per 90, better expected assists, more key passes. He doesn't win for these progressive passes to final third. Forward passes, he's level on him. Accurate balls, he's got more long ball success, more tackles won. And again, I've said it before, and we've done analysis on Loser before, but it's not just the getting on the ball and spreading it about. even yesterday, the amount of ball recoveries he was winning and interceptions was really, really impressive. Fascinating case in Ranluza, how good he has been in this kind of comeback that he's made. And everyone's saying, oh, he's gone, he's gone. What team gets him? What level can he go at? And he does have the ability. There's something in me that's got a bit of hope that because he hasn't been in the spotlight, he hasn't played for like a promotion team this season. I don't know how many teams are looking at him. Look, everyone's got the state of the art scouting, and we'll see how good of a player he is. But I don't know. What are you saying? He's definitely gone. I know how positive you are.
No, I mean I've done a complete U-turn on Imran Loser this season. Love the bloke. Never doubted him in my life. Do you know what? I'm the same though, and I've said this now for a couple of weeks. I've just got a weird feeling I think he's going to stay, and it wouldn't shock me as well to see him almost captaining the team next season. I know Matty Pollock's in there, Sissoko's still in there as well, and Dan Batman's still the club captain. But I could see him, really taking on those leadership responsibilities next season. I did say I feel like 2 out of the 3 between Georgie, Bar, and Loser will leave. I now think it could just be one. I think Georgie could be the only one that goes. I would have said Bar would have gone, but I think teams might just give it another season to see his injury situation. But I've got a weird feeling I think Loser will stay. I agree with you for that. Let's move on to the Easter weekend, Charlie. One of the best football weekends this season. We've had some great Easter weekends with Watford over the years, thinking back to 10 years ago. Can't believe it's been 10 years since that Easter weekend of Derby away, drawing 2-2. And then we went back to Vicarage Road and beat Middlesbrough 2-0 with a Deeney goal with an absolute screamer from Odion Igalo. Adeline Guardiola was amazing. But this year, we got on Friday this week, Burnley at home, who are obviously firmly in the race for promotion, and Portsmouth away as well. Portsmouth were really close. They equalised in the last minute against Derby yesterday. Also missed the penalty, but they should be okay from relegation now. So there's going to be a lot of animosity in those games. But Charlie, how are you feeling, and what do you want to see from those 2 games?
I'm not feeling confident going into those 2 games, that's for sure. I watched a bit of Burnley on Friday. They're good, but they're just boring. I just find them a bit dull to watch, but they're very solid. That'd be a good test. We're at home against one of the bigger teams. Can we cause an upset? We need to do better than we did against Leeds, but I think Leeds are a lot better than this Burnley side. Really hard to break down. And then if you look at our players, who've we got to break them down and be decisive, I think that's a really big ask. But looking for that performance. And I think the Portsmouth game will be a bit more like yesterday, where we got nothing to lose. I do think that they're not totally out of it, but I do think the whole Bar situation has taken the buzz out of that game. So yeah, I just want to see this Watford team carry on, maybe see a few youngsters play, but we still need to end as well as we can. We could probably still end up as high as maybe 8th or 9th, which would be a really, really good improvement from last season. We're now level on points, so we want to finish as strong as we can.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. Seeing Angelo O'Bonnell's name being floated around here in the comments, I completely forgot about him there. Charlie just looked up there when Ian Wright sees his teacher again for the first time in years.
Oh, you were dead.
God, and I'm really looking forward to the Portsmouth game. My first time at Fratton Park, last away game of the season as well. So, yeah, looking forward to that. But yes, we scored 3 goals so far this March as well. The Bristol City game, midweek against Hull, and yesterday as well. So hopefully a few more goals to contribute to our tally for Hertfordshire Mind, where we're donating £1 for every goal that Watford scored this season. Charlie, any final thoughts? I'm sorry, I'm absolutely dying with this cold at the moment.
No, I can tell you're being a trooper. You've done well. No, get some rest. The only thing I'd say is I think we've got, like we said, we've been fairly positive, and the one thing I kind of like towards the end of the season is when we do the fun content, when we kind of do our alternative awards, and we'll look back at some of our predictions and keep loan and sell. So that's all to come. It's been another long, hard season, but I think a really positive one. So you're not going Blackburn away?
I'm not doing Blackburn, unfortunately. Day before the London Marathon. So, Yeah, I
Well,
thought
if you
I'd
haven't
best
already, make sure you donate for Sam's race. But yeah,
thank
let's
you.
try and end on a high.
Yeah, let's try and end on a high. Great final words. Thank you everyone for watching here on WD18 today. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the Mental Health World Cup, and we'll see you all soon for another video. Up the Hornets.